Okay, what's going on? Vincent Rapsardi, Big Blue, and Bass.com. Thank you to those who've liked, commented, and subscribed. I appreciate you guys. Not too many things going on at this point. We had some minicam stuff, but I did want to talk about Patrick Graham and something that he said recently that is very interesting. But first, we have a sponsor, Manscaped.com. Father's Day is coming up. It's quickly approaching. Make sure to use that beautiful promo code BBU for 20% off plus free shipping. They just came out with the Lawnmower 4.0. Looks really, really cool. And they also have other things, too. They have different, face razors and nose hair trimmers and other cool things that I think the dad in your life would truly appreciate. So Manscaped.com, 20% off plus free shipping. Promo code BBU. Okay, so Patrick Graham, it was about 4 or 5 days ago. I'm a little bit late on this video. I haven't done a video in a little over a week. But he said that the Giants defensive coordinator job is his dream job, and he actually turned down an interview for the Jets head coaching job this offseason, which is very interesting. If I were the Giants, I understand, and Patrick Graham also kind of stated that, his goal eventually is to be a head coach in the NFL, which, of course, a lot of coordinators, any coach wants to be a head coach at some point. That's a lifelong dream. But if I were the Giants, I would do whatever I could in order to keep Patrick Graham. And if that's paying him big money, I would do it. Because clearly this guy knows how to coach. You look at their defense last season. Not too much was expected of it. The year before that, they were 27th in pass defense EPA, and they weren't a good defense in 2019. Last year, they were 9th in defensive EPA. I mean, how many pieces did they really add prior to the 2020 season? Obviously, Blake Martinez and James Bradbury, good pieces, but are those two guys all of a sudden going to transcend your defense? Probably not. They're going to be good, and you expect the defense to improve with those additions, but they were one of the best defense in the NFL. A couple additions and really no pass rush in terms of their edge rushing options, so that's another thing to consider. While they added Bradbury and Martinez, two very important additions, you look at their pass rushing situation, their edge rushers, and Carter and Zimenez barely played because of injury. And you had Kyler Fackrell. He was kind of banged up. They traded Marcus Golden. They had to bring in Jabal Sheard, Nico Lalos. They really had to piece things together at the edge rushing spot. So when you consider that and you consider how good their defense was, top 10 in defensive EPA, they were 10th in pass defense EPA. You bring in a guy like Logan Ryan, who was a nice addition, but you didn't expect him to play as well as he did. Jabril Peppers, he took the next step. They really didn't have Xavier McKinney for most of the season. So you add all these things together, and you're like, wow. Patrick Graham did a damn good job. Top 10 in expected points added as a defense, both as a defense and against the pass. And you need to be good against the pass in today's NFL. So he is a keeper. And if you have to pay him a little bit extra, a little bit more than what other defensive coordinators get paid, do it. Do it. I think you have to be impressed. You have to be impressed with his with what he did last year with his defense. So it's interesting that he said the Giants defensive coordinator job is his dream job. Again, does that mean that, obviously at some point I think he's going to become an NFL head coach, and it's going to put the Giants in a kind of a bittersweet position because, of course, they want the guy to go on and be successful and be a head coach. That also probably means that he was very successful at his job with the Giants. But man, at the same time, it's tough to let go of a coach like Patrick Graham at some point in the future. And if there is a certain price tag where you say, okay, here's a blank check, you could either choose to be a head coach somewhere else or you can essentially get paid what you want here. I think that should be an option. I think the Giants really should go all out in trying to retain clearly one of the most important assets in their program. Whether it's player or coach, he is very, very important to what they're trying to do. And the fact that he said no to a Jets head coaching opportunity, an interview, that says a lot. And I think he's putting his money where his mouth is. He's not just saying, the Giants defensive coordinator position is my dream job, and then he's going out and he's interviewing for all these jobs and he's just looking to get out. Clearly, I think he means it. So this is big news for the Giants, and I think there's potential of this thing maybe lasting a few years. Maybe this is someone who really wants to build and stay with the Giants. And what we also see too is, as great as it is to become a head coach in the NFL, you want to be put in the right spot. I mean, there's some coaches, maybe they're just great coaches, and they're going to take control of the draft, and they're going to be given a few years in order to build it. But you want to be very picky about where you go if you become a head coach. Because if you go to a team, a franchise that is not very successful, and they don't give their coaches enough time to truly develop the roster and truly earn their way, then it's a waste of time and it's a big setback. I mean, of course, you can go back to being a coordinator, but I think he's going to be smart. He's going to pick and choose. He's going to be very picky of where he eventually lands as a head coach, because at some point I think that's going to happen. But if I'm the Giants, I'm going to do whatever I can to keep him, and I would pay him. I'd pay him a good amount of money. I think it's underrated, the value of a coordinator. We always think about the head coach, and Joe Judge certainly has an important role in what the Giants are doing moving forward. But Patrick Graham, very, very important to the Giants' defense. What we watched last season was very impressive from a defense. Like I said, they added Bradbury Martinez, those are good players, but I don't think we expected them to be as good as they were, especially with some of the injuries that they had and some of the players that were not available, especially with their pass rush. They were 10th in pressure percentage last year. That's incredible considering the players that were out due to injury and some of the young players that they just had on their front seven in general. So that's that. I wanted to talk about that. That was kind of last week's news, but I did want to talk about that because I think that's huge news. That is huge news. Maybe that goes under the radar. I'm not on Twitter, so I don't know. Maybe that was a huge story and I missed it, but I feel like this is a story that may have went under the radar. It may have run under the radar, and sometimes it's not always about the people you add, but sometimes the people that you retain. And you can have a big offseason by just retaining valuable assets and not letting people go and not starting over. So this was huge. And this to me says that maybe he could be in it for a little bit longer than we expected. Because I think some people were kind of worried that maybe even this past offseason he would have gotten a head coaching job because he did so well. But I don't know. Maybe this thing lasts a couple years before he really decides to go in the head coaching direction. So that's that. I wanted to talk about Patrick Graham and that news. It's very important news.